Filecoin wants to create a decentralized internet where the users of the internet, so we host the files and we are the one who basically own the internet. There are no servers. Well, there are, but the servers are not dedicated servers, but the users provide the servers too. So this is Filecoin. My name is RP from Crypto Clarity, and today I will review this coin. And let's start with the verdict. So the main points what I took away during my research, you get them at the beginning of the video. So let's see, what did I realize? You cannot invest in Filecoin yet. When it will start, the actual project will start to be going live, then you will be seeing the coin appear on major exchanges, and then you will be able to invest. Until then you cannot do it. So yeah, that's kind of sad, but then again, the immediate upside is that you will be able to mine when the project launches. And because of that, this video may be still useful for you, because you can understand why is this so cool and why can you actually why is it good for you to look at this project and to see what is this all about. It was an awesome project. I mean, I reviewed this pretty extensively. I read the IPFS white paper. I read the Filecoin white paper. I researched. I watched many videos, and I just took a lot of time to look at this. And it's just a great project with great people, with huge potential, with great ideas, and with very, very, very good technical solutions. Not to every problem, but to many problems. So this is a pretty cool stuff. Yeah, it's very well thought out, and the idea is actually magnificent, and the idea can scale really well, and this could like transform the whole internet. So I'm pretty excited because this is like a great project, and I don't know, like I rarely see in the crypto scene like a project which is so deep, it's so profound, and it could like change the way the world, I mean the web works in a profound way. So this is like, you know, the scalability of the whole thing is like so great that I'm really thrilled about this project. And you know, it has a solid team, and the vision is great, because the vision is striving for an internet which is faster, safer, less controlled by central authorities, so more free, harder to censor, which is again better, and probably cheaper too because of the hosting thing, which we will talk about later. So the vision is great, so everything seems cool about this, and let's go deeper. So this was the verdict of mine, and from now on let's talk about the things which you have to know. So this whole thing is made by Protocol Labs, which is a company, and this company is only caring about basically making a better internet and better services on the internet. So that's what it does. And this is like a huge group of people who are working through this, and usually through decentralized means. So they made this open source project called IPFS, InterPlanetary File System. And this is pretty cool because we will talk about it in detail later, but it's basically an open source decentralized base layer web. So if you imagine the web now, you are looking at me, but the information what takes for you to watch the video goes through a server, and the server sends the information for you. Well, guess what? There could be a video site where my videos would be hosted on my computer, and you would download it directly from my computer or from any other users who watched my video, and those users would be maybe closer to you geographically, and they would like, you know, provide you the video from their computer. And that's basically a decentralized base layer web, which, you know, it cannot fail so easily, because if, for instance, the video host server would go down, well, guess what? You could still watch it from 10 or 20 other users who are online at the moment, and they have the video. So the InterPlanetary File System is doing this. So a serverless decentralized web, basically, that's the idea, and it's pretty cool. Yep. And so the Protocol Labs made this, and Protocol Labs made this coin list thing too. You will see where I'm going at in a bit, so just hang on. So they made this website called CoinList, and that is basically a solution to all the ICO initial coin offering madness which is going on nowadays. So they are not regulated. The coins, the promises are not really enforced, and basically everything is a big huge mess. People just buy a bunch of coins and they sell it at the moment of the exchange arrival of the coin. So when the coin hits the exchanges, and it's just basically a big crazy festival now. And they made this idea that they made a website, and on the website they only list ICOs which are agreeing to this simple agreement of future tokens kind of agreement, which states different things which they have to obey in order to appear there and to function. And the sad thing is that because they really legalized this thing, and especially in the US, this whole thing was a big mess because it was against the law practically against the law to use these kind of to participate in these ICOs, and they kind of solved this. And in the European region, it wasn't really legalized. That's the problem. So it was like kind of this gray zone. So you can participate in ICOs, but it's nothing illegal. And they made this agreement, and they basically made it legal for the ICO, for the whole company, for the whole development team who runs the ICO to make the ICO happen. And basically that's the main idea. But because of that, they only allow accredited investors, which means that the actual investor has to be accredited, and this really has many requirements. For instance, $1 million of net worth in some way, shape or form, and other things which has to be checked in order to be an accredited investor. So the thing is that all the coins, all the ICOs which are listed here are not available for public, for the normal people, me and I. And so the IPFS and the coin list is really connecting Filecoin together, because Filecoin is built upon the IPFS system through the CoinList website. So, and it's all built by Protocol Labs. So these kind of participants in this whole idea are not really clear to most people, I think. So what is Protocol Labs, what is IPFS, what is Filecoin, CoinList, and that's why I wanted to clarify in the first slide. So basically, Filecoin will be a cryptocurrency, and it provides a distributed storage network, and that's pretty cool, I think. So that's the main idea there. And it's, if you can imagine it, it's kind of like a hard disk of the new web. So it's a joint hard disk of the new web where stuff is stored and stuff is withdrawn, but it's not a big centralized hard disk, but the whole web is a hard disk. So let's talk a bit about InterPlanetary File System. The first thing is that if it will be a baby, it will be the baby of the World Wide Web and Twitterend. So this is kind of a super baby, because basically you know how BitTorrent works. You basically seed and leech from each other, but the internet doesn't really work like that. Well, IPFS works like that, only on the internet. So people leech files from each other, and people download and store and stuff like that for files from each other. And this whole network, which I was talking about all the way now, is just this way. So I wrote a bunch of interesting things here, but they are kind of boring, so let's just skip through them. If you want, just pause the video and read them. So that's InterPlanetary File System. And the cool thing is, we could go back, and I could talk about two of these things. So I didn't write it here, but cryptocurrencies, databases and stuff like that, domains even, can be built upon this InterPlanetary File System. And actually you saw multiple projects which already do this. So for instance, if you know Steemit has a beta on IPFS already, and it's working there. So that's kind of cool if you think about it. And any kind of image which you share there, actually I think is stored in this method, which is kind of cool. And many websites can switch to IPFS and run like that. So Filecoin is built on IPFS because IPFS has a problem. Like nobody really wants to store information besides of the information what he and she wants to use. So if nobody wants to store information, then how will the websites be stored on the decentralized network? So this is a problem, and Filecoin to the rescue. So they just rush there and say like, hey, let's release a token, and people will get rewarded with this token when they store files on the decentralized web, and they get rewarded even when they just hand that file to somebody else. So for instance, you want to go to the future of Facebook, and then you want to write in the web page, and the web page actually loads from Filecoin miner, who hands out that information, which what you need for the website to run, and then that Filecoin miner gets paid, and you pay, but for the service of loading the page, but a small amount. So that's the main idea there. So download, pay, send or store, get paid, and the tech is really solid. So I read both of the white papers, and it was really hard to understand because there were so many technical stuff inside, but I managed to understand most of the stuff, and because of that it was actually really eye-opening of how much problem solving do you need to make this happen. And not everything is clear so far. For instance, we'll talk about what's not clear regarding Filecoin later. But so yeah, it's a solid tech, and that's the main idea. So questions, illegal files. So because it's a decentralized network, and because many users store many information, and basically you cannot take anything down if there's an illegal website, or if, for instance, somebody stores the next episode of some famous series or something. Because it's decentralized, and because the whole IPFS is open source, then I don't know how can they take this off or stuff like that. Basically, Juan Benet, who is the creator of this coin, not the creator, but one of the head researchers at the lab, said that the main advantages of this Filecoin network is that stuff cannot be taken down easily, and that's sure fine, but when there are many investors who are millionaires and who want to see returns on their money, and who want to see a legal landscape, I don't know how happy will they be when they start to see illegal content being hosted on the whole network and nobody can take it off. So I don't know how will they solve this. And basically this whole Filecoin network will have a blockchain, and the blockchain will have transactions on it. Somebody wants a file, he pays, and he gets the file through the network, and the whole routing kind of thing, he gets the file from here, he gets the file from here, all the thing is sorted by this Filecoin network. So how will that be fast enough to load web pages, to load videos, to host stuff like this? I don't know. This is really weird, and I don't know if they can manage the speed requirements to a working web. So these are the two questions which are problematic, and we will see how this will pan out in the future. I wouldn't expect the Filecoin to run in the next 1 year or so, because this development is still in the infancy phase, but it's still good to keep your eyes out, keep your eyes open and just look at it and see how it goes. The development, Okay, so let's talk about some ICO shenanigans, because there were some ICO shenanigans, and to more illustrate my point, I made this little graph which illustrates how much of a percentage each of the investor or participant in this network will get. So there was a pre-ICO, before the ICO, where only contributors and people who helped to develop the project up until this point had the chance to invest. So basically people who helped to make the IPFS network and people who worked to in Filecoin network, they had this little bonus period where they could invest at a discount price, where they could get $0.75. They could pay $0.75 for a coin of Filecoin. In total there will be 1 billion Filecoins. So Filecoins. And from that, in this pre-ICO, they raised 39 million Filecoins, and obviously, if you multiply the two, you get $52 million raised. Yes, so this is like this purple part. Now, in total, 15% is only reserved for the investors. And in the ICO, in the actual ICO, where only like accredited investors could invest, so those millionaires, those rich guys could invest only, they raised 205 million in total, and they got 111 million Filecoins for that price. So look at the price difference. So this price was $1.84 per coin already. So that's like a lot more, like more than double the price. And that's kind of bad. I think it's kind of fair, because the people who worked at the beginning of this project and who helped for free basically in the IPFS network, and the people who like could, get in this whole thing early, were the people who put in the most work and who put in the work in a really, how should I put this, risky kind of thing, if you think about it, because they didn't know what will pan out of this and stuff like that. So yep, that's why this discount was there. And yeah, well, you can debate if it's fair or not, but it's there. And then Protocol Labs gets 150 million, which they supposedly use for research and stuff like that. And then the miners get 700 million, which is basically 70% of the whole pool. So there's a big opportunity here to mine. And I think it's a good idea to get into mining now. Not now, but when the market opens, because probably it will be profitable. And just another interesting fact, in total in the ICO, for each coin was worth $1.62. So that's another thing. So in conclusion, what do you have to know about this? Regarding the ICO Shenenigans, there was some drama about this, but I don't want to cover that. And so only millionaires and insiders invested. They only got 50% of the coins, which is very, very uncharacteristic for an ICO. And I think it's a good thing in this scenario. 70% is for the miners. So I don't know what are your plans, or do you plan for mining? But I think it's a very good opportunity. And if you have the infrastructure, if you have the money, if you have the time to get into this mining thing, I think it's very profitable. And my next video will probably about mining Filecoin or similar coins. And as a conclusion, like, I want to see how the project develops, and I want to decide whether I want to mine Filecoin later or not, based on the news, which is good, because I get to take my time and think about whether it's a good idea or not. So that was my conclusion, and this was my review for the Filecoin network. I hope it was useful for you. And yeah, well, if you liked it, you can subscribe and stuff, and like and comment and ask what you want to ask, and just tell me in the comments what do you think about this whole project. So let me know. Oh, by the way, there are some interesting there was a really cool video about Filecoin, and I will link it there. This is another guy who made a video about Filecoin, and he just broke down the whole process even probably better in a technical perspective than I did. And yeah, you can subscribe there. And just enjoy. See ya in my next video.